So in this video, I'm going to go over a mock IELTS speaking test. Now this set of questions is from an actual IELTS test book from 2023. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get my friend to ask me these questions, and I've never seen this set of questions before. So you're going to see what it looks like for a native English speaker to answer these questions on the spot. Are you ready? Let's go.
Good afternoon. My name is John Smith. Can you tell me your full name, please?
Yes, it's Evelyn Adams.
What shall I call you?
Evelyn.
Can I see your identification, please?
Sure.
Thank you. So, in this part, I'm going to ask you some questions about yourself. So can you tell me where you live?
Yeah, so I live in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada.
Great. And do you like the place where you live in now?
Yes, I love it here.
Why?
We have a lot of diversity, so you get to meet a lot of different people from different places in the world.
Great. And do you know many people who live near you?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Can you tell me more about it?
I do have a big friend circle. I would consider myself a very social person, so I like to see my friends on a weekly or sometimes daily basis.
Great. And is your area a good place for families with children?
Yes, it is.
Why?
There are a lot of facilities, I would say, here, so lots of parks and recreational buildings. We also have a lot of trails, a lot of beautiful places to go for walks and hikes.
Okay, and what other activities can people do in your area?
Well, I mean, I guess people can do the typical activities like going shopping at the mall, um, going for more walks.
Great, and now, let's talk about concentrating on your work or studies. That is paying attention. When you were a child, did you find it easy to concentrate on your studies?
That's a really interesting question and one that I haven't thought about. So, yeah, I would say that as a child, I did focus on my studies and it was a challenge for me, but I always found that I am able to push through any challenges that I face.
Is there anything you do to help you concentrate on your work or studies now?
Well, I'm noticing lately that a lot of young people are very focused on their phones and social media. So in order to stay focused on my work, I try to turn off my cell phone at times so that I can concentrate.
Great. And what things make it difficult for you to concentrate on your work or studies?
Distractions. So there's so much information coming at us nowadays. Um, so just having access to so much info on my cell phone all the time is very tempting. And again, I have to limit my time with my phone, so I turn it off occasionally.
Great. And when do you need to concentrate most and why?
When do I need to concentrate most and why? Obviously, when I'm working, I have to concentrate because I am paid to be at my workplace and complete a job, so I can't be focusing on other things at that time.
Okay, now let's talk about recycling things. What kind of things do you try to recycle?
That's another interesting question. I mean, the city that I live in has pretty strict guidelines for what we should be recycling. So I recycle plastic, metal, glass. I also compost fruits and vegetables.
Okay, and did you recycle anything when you were a child?
Did I recycle anything as a child? No, I think that was the responsibility of my parents.
Okay, and would you like to recycle more than you do now?
Yes, I think that would be a good idea.
And why?
I think as people produce more and more waste, it's important for us to up our game when it comes to recycling and just be better to the environment.
Great. And do you think children should learn about recycling at school?
Yes, I think that would be a good idea.
And why?
Well, as the cliche goes, children are the future, so I think it's important to teach them the importance of recycling.
So that brings us to the end of the first part. Now, in this part, I'm going to give you a topic, and you will have 1 minute to think. Here's a piece of paper and a pen for you to make notes. And then you will have 1 to 2 minutes to talk about it. Here's your topic. I would like you to describe a time when you needed to use your imagination.
Okay.
So, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, you may start now.
Okay, so one time that I had to use my imagination was actually when I was a child. I remember I had 1 year, I had a summer 1 year that was a very boring summer actually. My parents were working all the time, and so they actually sent me to a summer camp. And I didn't have the most fun at that time. I was kind of a shy kid, and I didn't actually talk to a lot of my peers. So during that time, I do remember that I turned to writing and creative writing in order to pass the time. So I remember at the summer camp in the evenings, I would sit down with a pen and paper and I would write these short stories that are actually so much fun to look back at now and read. But I was very imaginative, and I came up with a story about a little girl who goes for a walk in her neighborhood, and she enters into this fantasy world and she meets all these characters, and it was just a really cool story. So I remember at that time I needed to brainstorm a lot of my ideas, and I needed to actually write and rewrite the story a bunch of times. And I found it very easy to use my imagination that summer and to really develop these really interesting stories. And actually, I remember the next school year there was a talent show, and that year I decided to enter the talent show even though I was very shy. And I read one of my short stories to the class, and then I made it to the finals, I think, and I read it to the whole school. So from that experience, I can say that I was very pleased with my imagination.
Thank you very much. So, do you generally enjoy using your imagination?
Yes, I do. I'm a creative person, for sure.
Okay, so in this part, I'm going to ask you some questions about jobs and imagination.
Okay.
So, can you identify some jobs that require a good imagination?
Yes, I can. So thinking about, I guess, any marketing jobs, I think that you need to be able to imagine your target audience and what they would like to see in a product or on a website. And so you need to imagine that ideal audience and then create things that would appeal to them.
Okay, and do you think scientists need to use their imagination in their work?
Yes, they do, because they need to come up with a hypothesis and test that hypothesis. Imagine if it were true, would something else be true? So, absolutely, they have to be creative and use their imagination.
And do you think imagination is the quality employers value most in their staff?
In general, no, I think it's undervalued.
And why do you think that is?
I think because in certain jobs, maybe we use our imagination less. So it really depends on the job that we're talking about. Yeah.
And I would like to ask you some questions about imagination and the future. So, do you think that adults can learn to use their imagination more in the future?
That's an interesting question. I think that imagination can be thought of as a skill that we can cultivate. So, yes, I think that anyone can develop their imagination if they engage in activities that allow them to use their imagination.
Okay, and do you think computers have the potential to be more imaginative than people in the future?
So, I think we're talking about artificial intelligence, perhaps, and yes, it's looking that way. Maybe technology will be developed to that degree at some point in the future.
And do you agree that imagination will continue to have such an important role in future societies?
I should hope so.
And why?
Because I think that people who are imaginative come up with the new ideas that move us further along in history. So I think it's important for everyone and as a society to come up with new ideas and to keep getting better and better, hopefully.
Thank you. That brings us to the end of the speaking test.
Thank you. Whew, I'm finally done. So what did you think of my answers? Did you like the questions? If you're taking the IELTS exam soon, I wish you all the best and I hope it goes well. So I hope you found this video informative. I hope you found it useful to see an unrehearsed IELTS mock speaking test. If you enjoyed watching this video, please don't forget to hit the like button. And if you're new to my channel, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.